Good morning, members of Yu-Gi-Oh! Rebel Child here. Now, TCG, I know we're all in the wake of last night's ban list. A lot of us are still a bit shaken up because last night's ban list is crazy. If you haven't seen it, type in any YugiTuber's name. They have the ban list up. Everybody was talking about it. It was that crazy. You can check out my channel. I have it up. A few thoughts on the ban list is it's crazy because it feels like they just really wanted to show us that they get the last laugh. You know, Konami has a plan and they have a plan that they want to follow. Now, I actually kind of like it too. If you didn't see the ban list, some notable things. We actually are having the ban list more often. Like, it's going to run from September 1st to December 31st, and then they're probably going to have another short time period, so we're going to see more stuff. So, you know, we're going to see decks being hot for about a little while. Like, decks will get their 15 minutes of fame over, you know, their half an hour to an hour of fame. Simply because now decks are more likely to be hit. You know, a lot of things got hit. If you didn't see the balance, like I said, there will be a link in the description below. Check out my channel, any YugiTube channel. Check it out on your own. See the ban list. But you know, there's some things on there, some things that didn't get hit that I want to talk about. Now, some of them irritate me. Some of them irritate people. Some of the stuff nobody cares about. You know, we'll live with. But you know, like I said, they're running this multiple times throughout the year, so a lot of these things could get hit in the future. Anyway, let's get into this. The first thing I want to talk about, number 11, Big Eye. It did not get hit. Now, I actually want to talk about this with Mechafan beats Dracosack. A lot of people felt like these cards should be hit. A lot of people felt like if you hit Dracosack, that would be the answer to the Dragons. I'll talk about the Dragons in a second. I'm going to talk about Dracosack and Big Eye, though. The reason why Big Eye and Dracosack did not get hit, I didn't care that I didn't get hit. I didn't even mind it, you know. The reason why I don't care, the reason why I really did not see it getting hit anyway. Some people were saying, oh, Dracosack's new, it can't get hit. Spellbook Judgment was new, and that got hit. Well, the reason I don't think Dracosack and Big Eye got hit was simply because the difficulty of getting it out. A lot of decks can't run rank 7s. Dragons spam them. That's why people were irritated with them. They spam this rank 7 and then do stuff, you know? A lot of decks can't do that. A lot of decks can't even run 7s. A lot of decks find it difficult to get their rank 7s out. But Dragons were able to do it at the snap of a finger, at the drop of a pen. You know, it didn't matter where, you know, the Dragons are coming from. They were able to do it. And the reason why, you know, for them to even ban Big Eye and Dracosack would be for them to ban something like Shooting Quasar Dragon. Quasar is a difficult card to get out. It has an amazing effect. Yeah, you can attack twice for 4,000 apiece. Yeah, you can negate an effect per turn. Yeah, when it's gone, you get a Shooting Star Dragon. But the degree of difficulty to get it out is enough of a reason for them to not ban it, because not a lot of decks are going to run it because they can't use it. That's the bread and butter. That's simply the way it is. And the only way for them to ban them, even with the degree of difficulty of them getting them out, is simply because they would need to not have a drawback. Both Big Eye and Dracosack have a drawback. Yes, Dracosack says you gotta destroy your tokens before you destroy Dracosack. Yes, Dracosack says you can use the effect to pop a token and pop a card, go 1 for 1, like you do with Scrap Dragon. But the one problem with Dracosack is once he pops, he can't attack. So, you know, your opponent can have a Dracosack and pop your monster, but he can't attack with Dracosack to do any damage. So he's gonna have to wait until next turn. Or he's gotta attack your back row. Maybe you have something on your field that destroys Dracosack already. So he has to pop that. He has to pick what he's popping. Your opponent has to pick what they're popping. So with that being said, Dracosack is probably, you know, yeah, it's a broken card. Yeah, it's OP, but it's not gonna get hit because of the drawback. Big Eye can steal your monster, but Big Eye can't attack. So, you know, they gotta wait for you to hit out a big monster. And when you put out that big monster, you have to be able to go to Big Eye after they get out the big monster. Because if you have a Big Eye on the board and they spam a Blue Eyes White Dragon, hold sorry. They spam a Blue Eyes White Dragon, then they could just attack over your Draco, your Big Eye, because Blue Eyes is at 3,000, Big Eye is at 2,600. Yeah, like, all I'm saying is, it's just weird to me that people would have a problem with Big Eye without looking at the facts. But anyway, that's 5 minutes into talking about 2 cards, so let's just try to speed this up, because this isn't the main reason of this video. I'll talk about what the main reason of this video is in a second. Another 2 cards I'm going to talk about in a pair, Ophion and Bahamut. Now, this is the ones that irritate me a little bit, because Ophion is a card that doesn't allow you to play your deck, pretty much. Like, Ophion, yeah, there's ways to get around it, but it's like, the ways to get around it will get you around the first Big Eye, but they can easily drop a second Big Eye. Like, even with Rescue Rabbit being at 1, they can drop Rescue Rabbit when they draw into it, do double Heliotrope and get Big Eye. I mean, Ophion, sorry. If you get rid of that Ophion, then they can do something like Caster, and then Special Summon Thunderbird or Magical or something like that, and then Ophion. So they have options. So getting that first Ophion off the board is like, yeah, but you still got 2 more in there extra to deal with. Now, if they had at least semi-limited Ophion, swinging over that first Ophion is no problem. It's just that, and then swinging over the second Ophion would be no problem. It's just that third Ophion that can really lose you the match or the game in the grinder game. Because you may Veiler, after he detaches for the Pandemic search, you may Veiler and stop it, and then make him search for Pandemic, or if he doesn't search for Pandemic, you may Darkhold the field and destroy your opponent's Ophion, and then they, get another Ophion out, and you somehow go for like Gem Knight Pearl and attack over their Ophion. Now they still have a third Ophion on the board, and by that time, they're probably going to have a plan to get rid of that Gem Knight Pearl you have, or whatever. I also want to talk about Bahamut, because Bahamut is a monster that's like Big Eye, but better, because it can steal your opponent's monster, even though you have, I guess you have to tribute an Evil Storm monster or something, but it can steal your opponent's monster, and you can still attack with it. So I'm surprised, because if one of these got hit, now it's like Evil Storms don't look as OP, because Evil Storms, they have everything now. They have all their stuff. Karikion, Caster, Thunderbird, Heliotrope, Magigola, Ophion, Bahamut, Ouroboros, they have it all, because none of it got hit last night. And that was probably the one thing that irritated me. But then again, like I said, multiple ban lists per year, we probably might take a hit later on. Brother of the Fire Fist Booster. This was on the OCG ban list and not on the TCG. Now, a lot of people are probably wondering why. I just want to point out the fact that it's pretty much this simple. Anything that happens in the OCG happens in the TCG, right? They start out with the OCG and test it and see how it plays out. Well, you guys gotta remember, it's on the OCG ban list because they had it in the OCG for a while already. This is how we got it, this is how we heard of it. Brother of the Firefish Chicken, yeah, that's what they call it, because they had it already. And they played us with it, and I guess it was already kind of doing so well they had the need to ban it over there. We just got it. We don't know what it's going to do with the TCG team. So of course they weren't going to touch it. But I guess they really wanted to slow down the Fire Fist. That's why they hit Spirit instead of Rooster. Rooster maybe getting hit later on. I see the OCG stuff that we don't have, like Rooster, I see that being a prediction of the future. Because if it got banned over there, then I'm pretty sure it's going to get banned over here. Especially with a lot of people running Fire Fist and the whole speculation of Fire Fist being good and being a top tier deck. Also with Fire Fist, Fire Fist getting the bear reprint and the Dragon Blue Chins, a lot of people are about to start running them, at least the 4-axis version. But Big Dragons, that's the next thing I'm talking about. Big Dragons didn't get hit. People were wondering why. Big Dragons weren't the problem. It was either you limit the Big Dragons or ban the Baby Dragons. If you limit the Big Dragons, then you can't sell the Big Dragons and you can't push these tins. You gotta push these tins that they promoted. You know? If this could have been like something, a balance that happened after the promotion of these tins were out for a while, maybe that's cool then. But you still gotta push these tins. Even though it's just one card out of the whole thing, you still gotta push these tins. You know, you make these tins around. You can't ban a card and then have a tin that's focused around this card. Another thing I want to talk about as far as Big Dragons are concerned, like I said, it was either the Baby Dragons you hit or the Big Dragons. The Baby Dragons are the Searchers, the Big Dragons are pretty much the rank 7s. But by them not hitting the Big Dragons, now we can see in another decks. And I guess now it kind of makes it so, yeah, now it's more even. But yeah, like I said, the dragons, they had to find some way to completely destroy the dragon deck, and I think they hit it. They kept hitting it. Like, they banned Rejuve, they took away the baby dragons, they took away Guards Doctor 1. They wanted to get rid of this deck because this deck was so OP that it needed to be hit in some way, such as the reason, like, you know, this is a deck that these dragons come from anywhere. These dragons can come from your hand. These dragons can be coming from your graveyard. Anywhere they're from, they special summon. This deck special summons. I've never seen a deck that special summons so much or so easily since 6 Sams. And with 6 Sams, you normal summon, special summon, special summon, special summon, special summon. But with dragons, even if you have one big dragon in your hand, if you have something like Sacred Swords, you drop your Sacred Swords, banish your big dragon, draw 2 cards, you can potentially draw into 2 dragons. As long as you draw into 1 baby dragon, you're good, because with the banishing of the big dragon, you search for another dragon, another baby dragon anyway. And then if you have a dragon in the graveyard or something, if you have at least 1 dragon in the graveyard and a baby dragon in your hand along with another dragon, you can pitch the 2 dragons, special summon a big dragon, and then the big dragon in your graveyard, you can banish 2 of your dragons in your graveyard to special summon that dragon, and overlay for your Draco Cyber Big Eye. And that's why they spam, and that's why they had to go. It had to go. It was just a deck that was too godlike, you know? I mean, if they ever come out with a deck better than it, they'd be stupid. They're never going to, this is something that we're never going to see again. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing that Konami realized, you know, this was fun to play, to play around with, to see how they would react, but it's gone. Now, I'm sorry this video's going to be long. It's probably going to be a little bit longer, because, now the real reason why I wanted to make this video. This video is simply for you guys that want to know what the hell I'm going to run now. This is a video with decks of the next format I see getting played. These are the decks of the next format, and there's over 20 decks that I can show you. I've written them all out. I took the time and effort to go over it, to look at it. And without further ado, let's just kind of get into this. I broke it up into Tier 2, Tier 1, and then there's Honorable Mention, which we'll get to last. But both Tier 1 and Tier 2 are separated into High Tier 1, Low Tier 1, and Low Tier 2, and High Tier 2. So, starting out with Low Tier 2, the decks I see that are going to be Low Tier 2, and before I even get into it fast, I just want to say that there are some wild cards out there, so don't get all like, what? There's some wild cards out there that I can kind of see getting some play. Here's why. When I hit that, sorry, let's get into that. Let's get into the list first. First deck I have is 6 Samurais. 6 Samurais I have a low tier 2 because 6 Sams lost their gateway. When 6 Sams had 3 gateway and they were able to draw into at any point in the game, then they were tier 1, because you can have a gateway in your hands along with a Kagamusha or a Kageki and a Kizan. You can go, and like a smoke signal or an atheism, you can simply go boom, Kageki, boom, Kizan, smoke signal, switch on the Kizan, or switch out Kagamusha, go freaking Shogun or Great Samurai Master or whatever the hell they call it, go Shien first turn, and then if you had already dropped your gateway, you have about a good 12 counters on gateway already. So that made the decks like, you know, tier 1. However, they lost that. They lost gateway all together now. Like at 1, it pushed it from high tier 1 to low tier 1, high tier 2. But now they lost it. So I see it as a low tier 2. It's still a deck that a lot of people are going to run. It's a budget deck. It's $9 for the structure deck. You go out, you buy 3 structure decks for about 18 bucks. 18 to 27 bucks or whatever. And you can make a deck. Only problem is, you know, like I said, you lost your gateway. But at the same time, they still have stuff like Temple, they still have Kizans, they still have Shien, so I still see it being at least a low tier 2. So if not competitive, a fun deck still. Now the deck I want to talk about, Archfiends. It's a deck that just came out or whatever, but this is a deck I want to talk about in particular. There's a few decks like this, I say, that I think will start out low tier 2, but it's going to take that 1 or 2 duelists, or that 1 guy, that 1 pro that's going to really like this deck and try to go into it and pretty much make a build that's going to top it. Because I see what's going to happen with this is I see it topping a YCS or a regional, and everybody's seeing it and getting this deck list, and then that's when it becomes tier 1. It's going to take that 1 person. I think it's going to start at tier 2, because if nobody cares about it, nobody's going to play it. But with all the Archfiends out there, all the cards with Archfiend in the name, that's probably going to be able to target the, Archfiend support cards. I feel like, somebody's going to make the deck list that's going to top a YCS or something, and everybody's going to run it. And then it'll be a tier 2 deck. Tier 1 deck, I'm sorry. Next low tier 2 deck I have is one of my first wild cards on here, Gagagas. Yes, I say Gagagas, because Gagagas, the simple reason why is because they spam the field with XYZ monsters. No deck XYZ is like Gagagas. Now, here's a deck that can make anything from a rank 1 to a rank 8, as long as it doesn't have special requirements. Like, you remember, these guys can run Draco Sack and Big Eye. You can change your Gagaga Magician to 7 and special summon your child from your hand and copy Magician. Or you can play Gagaga Girl and copy it, and then your monster gains Gagaga's effects. I just see, because they have more support cards, like Gagaga Winch came out, which allows you to special summon a Gagaga monster from your hand as a level 4 monster, which is great because Gagagas can change the levels and now you can stay in the field. Especially if somebody makes a Chaos version, and now you've got Dark Armament, now you've got Chaos Sorcerer, which in the OCG is at 2, we might see it at 2 for us. You can run your BLSs in it. BLS is supposed to be getting a reprint really soon, so yeah. I just see Gagagas at least being low tier 2, if not high tier 2. Another wild card I want to point out is Heroic Challenger, because they just got a lot of support in Number Hunters. They got Ambush Soldier, I think it was, and that other one that allows them to run Lionheart. And I know a guy who runs it. If you haven't seen it, check out my channel. I have a deck profile of it. It's a pretty good deck. It runs pretty well. Yeah, with the right build, I see it being competitive. Like, I see somebody can top with it and take it to Worlds. Now, this is a format where anything can top, really. So, I see this card deck in particular doing pretty well. At least low tier, 2 for now. But yeah, as for the high tier 2, I have Ghost Tricks. Now, this is just like Archfiends in my mind. This is a troll deck. I've seen it. I played it once. I've seen how some other people run it. It's pretty crazy. I think it's going to take that one guy to top it, a YCS or a top regional, for them to start running this for this to be tier 1, because people are going to run it at first because it's going to be the newest deck coming out in Shadow Spectres, which is supposed to be our next set coming out. But Ghost Trick, I see it just being good, simply because of the fact that it's going to take, once somebody, makes the right deck profile, everybody's going to run it. Next thing I want to talk about, another one of my wild cards, Lavos. I will always have this deck on one of my lists like this, simply because I run Lavos. I know how good they are. With Synchros coming back, Lavos spam Synchros like nobody's business, and now Lavos are also managing to find ways to get XYZ monsters in their thing. I find ways to do it. There are so many ways to spam the field with XYZ monsters. As long as the killing's at 3, Lavos will be a high tier 2 and potentially low tier 1, because they've got the Quasar OTK where they drop their Lava of All Dragon and just pretty much use Brionax effect and put in the Lavo version by shuffling 2 Lavos in the deck and putting a card and taking it back to your opponent's hand. So you can pretty much clear your opponent's field and then go Quasar and attack twice. But other than that, they have a lot of other options. If Trishula ever comes back, they can easily get out Trishula. They can easily get out Star Eater. They can get out a lot of beat sticks and do crazy things with Synchros. If there's ever a deck that makes Synchros their bitch, it's Lavos, dude. I'll tell you that now. I can tell you from first-hand experience. Another deck. This next deck is also, I wouldn't say it's like Archfiend and Ghost Tricks, but in a way it kind of is. Vampires. Vampires, we all know are going to be tier 1. We know it's going to happen. I know a lot of you probably already know about this, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen because Mizuki's at 2 and Plague Spitter Zombie's at 2, which is going to open up the synchro plays, which is going to open up so many other plays for the deck. The zombie support cards that are already out, Book of Life, Zombie World, maybe Red Eyes, Zombie Dragon, it's going to be sprinkled into this deck, and it's going to make this deck even better. I don't have it at least low tier 1 now. I don't have it there simply because, like I said with Ghost Tricks and Archfiends, I'm waiting to see who plays it. I know somebody's going to play it because Mizuki came out. But it's who's going to make the deck list and how soon is it going to come out or whatever. But yeah, so next one, deck on the list, I have 3 Axis Fire Fist, 3 Axis Fire Fist simply because I see Rooster getting hit in the future because Rooster got hit in the OTG, so there has to be some reasoning behind that. Plus, they lost Spirit, which means they lost the recycling effect, which means they lost the Easy Horse Prince play. Plus, check out Andrew Pickens' DEC Enigma channel. He talks about how 3 Axis Fire Fist gets smacked around by Maxi and Effect Veiler because the effects are stopped and they special summon more than 4 axis, which means when you drop that Maxi, they got the Maxi challenge and got to decide either to keep going or to stop. And if you keep going and you run into something like a threatening war, then your opponent can use all the cards they plus off and use it against you. So that's why I have it at a high tier 2. Maybe we'll see some build that makes it to tier 1 because there's always somebody out there making a great build. Next deck, and the last deck I see at tier 2. This is on the border of high tier 2, low tier 2. This is just one of my wildcard decks I threw out there. TGs, because TG Striker's back. TG's that too. So, who knows? Who knows how it's going to go? We'll have to wait and see. Low tier 1 now. This is the ones that took some time to think about. First thing I have on low tier 1s, and I wanted to point this out first because there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of speculation about it. It's coming out pretty soon, but people have forgot about it. Thanks to Worlds and thanks to all this ban list crap. The Blue Eyes structure deck. Yes, Blue Eyes, the legendary Blue Eyes is coming back. Blue Eyes Maiden of Blue Eyes and White Stone of the Dragon or something like that. And Blue Azalea Silver Dragon, whatever, the single card they have. I see in second action, it spams out Blue Eyes and it makes rank 8s like nobody's business because of all the Blue Eyes. So I see this deck being pretty good. I see it being a low tier 1. It's a structure deck, so it should come out cheap. However, Dragons Collide, which was a structure deck for Chaos Dragons, is at like $30. So who knows? They can really go either way. But I see the deck being pretty good. I see the deck being able to run stuff like Herodic Dragon, the Sun God, something like that. Neo Galaxy Photon Dragon, because it can make these rank 8s because it spams Blue Eyes like it's nobody's business. Like Maiden the Blue Eyes makes it so you can special summon Blue Eyes, or search Blue Eyes. Silver Dragon makes it so you can special summon Blue Eyes. The Stone Tuner monster that we have for a while makes it so when it goes to the graveyard you can search Blue Eyes. So it's already got search power. It's already got its own spell and trap support coming out in the deck. So stay tuned for that. Another low tier 1 I have, Black Wings, because I know a lot of you Black Wing players are doing black flips, because congratulations. Black Whirlwind's at 3, which is surprising because the OCG had it at 2. But now we have it at 3. And what's interesting about Black Whirlwind is because I feel like we're in an era where it's going to be more normal summoning than special summoning. Like, you have Tensu, we have Black Whirlwind, we have Constellars that have their normal summon effects. Normal summoning stops Maxi from being dropped. So Maxi is it's being less relevant in some of these decks. Like, these decks don't have to worry about Maxi. Plus, Black Wings have a lot of their own, pointed support. Like, they have cards, they have a trap card, I forgot what one it is, that allows you to pretty much copy a trap card in your opponent's graveyard. So if your opponent uses Compulse, you can, copy that card and make your own Compulse. I've seen Black Wings, some of the support cards, they have a lot of stuff. Like, Black Wings are freaking good. And, there's a reason they won Worlds in, 2009, I think it was. Now we're seeing the return of the champion, There's a reason it did as good as it did. But the question is, how good is it going to be able to do now with all of these other monsters that that came out, all these other decks that came out, But next up I have Dark Worlds. The reason I have Dark Worlds, let's keep it honest, we all knew this deck is good. The reason this deck is wise down here is simply because we forgot about it. Yes, we forgot about it because we were running spellbooks and we were running dragons around, and everybody was running these 2 decks because these 2 decks were supposed to be the god tier decks, and everybody forgot about the other decks because they only wanted to win. Nobody saw these other decks being able to beat Prophecy and Dragons. But now that Judgment is banned and all the baby dragons are gone and Rejuve is gone and Gold Sock is at 1, now we can go back to playing other stuff. This is a format that's supposed to be mixed. That's supposed to have a lot of diversity. That's the best thing about this format coming up. You're about to see crazy diversity, And I see Dark World's coming back, because as long as you have a card like Rafa, where you can discard it and pop a card, and then normal summon, bounce that normal summon card back to your hand, and special summon Rafa, is great. I used to play the deck a little bit when I first got back in Yu-Gi-Oh! I was using it as a deck to learn. It was a great deck. It can spam Neo Galaxy, Photon Dragon. It has its own surge power. You know, drag down to the grave. It has Lord of the Darkness, Dark World Dealings. Just makes the deck. It has its own draw power. It makes the deck fast. I mean, even in a slow format, Dark Worlds are still fast. Sure, they lost their auto win card with card destruction, but they don't really need it. They can still do damage. Next card, Noble Knights. This is also on the break of high tier, because Noble Knights have their surge card. There's a lot of speculation about them. I'm just waiting to see what else comes out. You know, there's going to be some people sprinkling it in their other decks. I also see Noble Knights being used by somebody. Like, this is also another deck that are going to be like Vampires, Ghost Tricks, and Archfiends, where it's going to take somebody to make the good deck build for them to be good. You know, for them to be top tier. If nobody does it, then I'm putting them at low tier with everybody else. But I'm putting them at tier 1 for now, because it looks like it's a pretty good deck, you know, especially with their Searcher card just being released. Next card deck I have on here, the last deck I have at low tier 1, Constellars. There's a reason I have it at low tier instead of high tier. The Evil Storm matchup Constellars is amazing, because they changed, like I said, they normal summon and they change the level of their monster, and then they special summon a rank, not a level. You know, they don't really run synchros. Plus, it's a light deck, guys. Same thing as Bujins, when I get to it later. Any light deck, you always have to worry about Honest. You know, at the back of your mind, you have to keep Honest there, because at any point you can attack and they drop an Honest, and that can lose you the game. Or at any point they can attack you and drop Honest, and you can't really do anything to Honest. You know, you can't effect failure it, because it's not a face-up monster in the board. It's a hand trap. You know, so any light deck that has any light deck really keeps you on your toes, because you always got to keep a lookout for Honest. Plus, they have a card that can bounce back to the hand, cards back to the hand, and Blades. Like, I know they have M7 just got hit to 1, but they don't really need it. All they're going to need is 1. Like, from what I've seen, a lot of Constellar players only run 1 M7, so, yeah. As for the high tier 1 decks, this next card is a wildcard deck. However, I had it on here because a lot of people were talking about it, and not a lot of people were talking about it, but a lot of people were playtesting with it when it first came out in Lord of Zacian Galaxy. Yes, that's right, Battling Boxers. I see it doing good because I've seen on a couple people's channel, check out Lord Solar Prime. He does a lot of playtesting with it, and he playtests with this deck, and I've seen him beat Mermills. I've seen him beat a lot of top tier decks. Battling Boxers, they have their that one XYZ, not number 105, but the other one, I think UK or something, that you can negate the destruction of it, and it gains a bunch of life points, a bunch of attack points or whatever. So like, it was like 800 attack points, that pushes it like 3,000, and it's hard to get over. Plus, the Battling Boxers work so well, they're so well in sync with each other, that I just see them doing damage next format. If not being a high tier 1, I think they might push a low tier 1. They're on the brink, but I think they'll be top tier. Now, as for every deck after, you know, there's, what we say, 1, 2, 3, there's 6 decks left to mention. As for the high tier, I consider this the meta of next format. We had 2 decks in the meta last format. I mean, at first it was Mermills, but then it was Evil Storm Mermills, and then it was Evil Storm Mermills, Dragons and Prophecies. Then it was Evil Storms, Dragons, Prophecies, and then it was Dragons, Prophecies. So we went from 4 to 3 to 2. This time around, I see 6 decks in the meta. Starting out in Bujins. Everybody knows about Bujins. Everybody was excited about Bujins. Bujins came out. Everybody had speculations. You know, they were good at the OCG. They've got cards like Yamato and Crane that do some damage. Plus, like I said, there's another light deck that runs Honest, and it keeps you on your toes, and it keeps you, just like the card suggests, Honest. So, you know, you gotta look out for that. I see it doing good. Plus, they can splash in Firefish stuff. They can splash in Tensus and Tankies, which allows you to normal summon their Beast Warrior types. So, like I said, Max C is looking like it's less relevant in this format. But, next I want to talk about Madolches. Madolches are the meta now. Yes, they are. They're tier 1, high tier 1. I don't care what you have to say about it. They're tier 1, let's face it. It's a deck that their monsters don't really touch the graveyard, and they pretty much use stuff like Shatu and Ticket to just pretty much go crazy. Now, if you run something like DNA surgery or something like Rivalry of the Warlords, that might slow them down a little bit. But with all the cards that got hit, that banish monsters like D Fisher and Bottomless Trap Hole and D Prison and Macros, yeah, well, with that being hit, I see Middlesex going up and rising. You know, they're already top 32 at Nationals with Alexander Thomas. You know, this is a deck that played against Dragon Rulers and Prophecy and got top 32. You know, you get your Takamasu out, you get your Cat out, and you get your Messenger Gelato. Just pretty much it goes crazy. Plus that too gets like 500 attack points. So next deck I have 4 Axis Fire Fists because Power Duality is back out, and like I said, normal summoning is up, so Power Duality doesn't do anything. Now you get your Surge, plus you don't get the special summon, but you're normal summoning a lot more. Plus they have access to stuff like Tiger King. They have access to stuff like Diamond Dire Wolf. Now they can't go Shockmaster because Shockmasters are officially banned, but it doesn't matter. They don't need it. Bear is Bear. Like, people were saying, oh, you don't need Bear. Bitch, you need Bear. Shut the fuck up. You need Bear. Everybody's going to be winning Bear. Especially now it has reprinted. Now it's going to be like, what? Probably anywhere between $8 to $10 now for a Bear. You can get 3 Bear for $30 when it took you $30 to get 1. And that was maybe because it was at like $36 before. Somewhere at 40. Also see Gorilla being run in this deck. Gorilla, especially, a lot of people saying you're not going to run Gorilla anymore. Yes, you are, because Heavy Storm is banned, guys, which means back row is going to be crazy. Everybody's going to be setting a bunch of back row, even though all the traps got hit to 1, like Torrential and Compulse. Mirror Force didn't, so we're going to see rise in that. But anything that destroys back row is going to be seeing rise in play. Like Gorilla, you tribute your Fire Formation card and pop a back row card. You're going to need that in the future. Next deck I have on here, Mermails. Mermails, if anything, I probably see being the best deck of the format because they were so good before Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy. They were like dragons. Nobody doesn't compare these two, but they were like dragons in a way. Dragons are more OP, yes, but Mermails were doing what dragons did. Dragons top YCS and top this, top that, top this, top that. That's what Mermails are doing. Mermails are topping everything. And with Megalo being reprinted in Battle Pack 2, a lot of people are going to be running Mermails. Yes, they lost Dragoons to 1, and they have Diva at 1 too, but now the one change that we're going to see, I mean, they still have Lyn and Sphere or whatever, but the one thing we're going to see differently is now they have Tidal, which means they have access to Bisgaios a lot faster. They have access to Draco's Arc and Beggar themselves a lot faster. So even though you take out the Searcher engine of the deck and slow the deck down a little bit, they still have cards that help the explosive plays. Next deck I want to talk about, Evil Swarms. Simply because nothing in Evil Swarms got touched. You know, Evil Swarms are supposed to be good last format, but not a lot of people are running them. I mean, Ophion is a card. Ophion is a card, and they can go into it fast. It's just a deck that, it's like an anti-meta deck that's a meta deck. You know, it stops special summoning, and yet it has all their monsters have that plus 50 attack points. And that plus 50, you don't realize it does a lot. You know, I can't tell you how many times my opponent had an Ophion on the board, and I had a monster at 2,500 or something. That 50 really fucks you over sometimes. I'm actually predicting Evil Storm to be the second or third best deck of the format, behind Mermails. Maybe better than Mermails if they can stop Tidal and Bisgaios in the field. Or not Bisgaios, Megalo. And Bisgaios, but still. Next deck I have in here, high tier 1, Prophecy, Spellbooks. Chill, relax. I got Prophecy up here because, yeah, they had their run last format, but I see them being the deck that comes back because they only lost Judgment. Remember, before Judgment came out, they were still good. They weren't, topping everything, but they were topping. A lot of Prophecy decks were topping were good. The difference now is, instead of having Judgment, we're going to have World of Prophecy. But World of Prophecy doesn't do, doesn't help the deck like Judgment did. A lot of people might be running it. I'm not even going to run World of Prophecy because I don't think it's that much of a card that's needed. But, I mean, yeah. I think the only thing about prophecies is you guys need to run out and get your high priestesses now. If you run prophecies, if you're going to run prophecies, buy your high priestesses now. Because the reason high priestess was $100-something because a lot of people were running it. When people stopped running it and it dropped from 100 to 70. No, sorry. It dropped from 126 to 100 to 70 to 60 to 50 to 40. Now it's at like $33, $35. So go out and get your 3 now because it's not going any lower. It's going to see a rise in play because of Heavy Storm being banned. And we need stuff to pop back row. Priestess effect allows you to special summon herself and then pop back row once per turn. You know, banishing a spellbook. And you know how many spellbook cards is going to be in the graveyard? Popping back row is going to be nobody's business for Priestess. So I see her going up in price. So go get her now. Now that's it for the top tier, the tier 1 and tier 2 decks. Before I close out this video, I know it's getting kind of lengthy. I want to mention the honorable mention decks. A bunch of decks that probably, these are the road decks pretty much. The road decks are gonna hear, you hear top and you're like, really, that tops? I see agents doing pretty good because this is a more balanced format. I know a lot of people really don't feel like it's a balanced format. I see it as a balanced format. I see it as a balanced format because anything can top. I mean, Murmurs and Evil Storms are probably gonna take the lead, and Evil Storm and 4X Fire Fist might be right behind them with Prophecies, but I still see this being a more balanced format. So I see agents potentially doing something, especially now they got Earth at 3. I mean, it's an extra search, but still. I'm mentioning E-Heroes. Yes, Stratos was banned, but the reason they banned Stratos is because they banned Heavy Storm, and Stratos pretty much replaces their Heavy Storm in that deck because you can destroy back row with Stratos. So they decided, instead of keeping that around, we're going to get rid of Stratos and give you an extra emergency call and put a Hero Lives at 3. Now, a Hero Lives is, in my eyes, is like Spellbook Judgment. What is it? Judgment? Solid Judgment. I feel like a Hero Lives is like that because it can win or lose you the match of the game. Because by paying half your life points, you could be special summoning a monster that can win you the game, but that special summoning requires you to just pay half your life points, which could cause you to lose. However, that extra e-call is going to help because now you can search, which gives you something like a Stratos. Now with Stratos, you have to use your normal summon for the search. Now with the extra e-call, you can play the e-call and use that for your search and search out Prisma, search out your Alias or whatever. Next, I'm going to mention Heroics because they got Seal of Convocation, which means the speed is a little bit up. A lot of people are saying that they're splashing in some Dragon Rulers in them. It'd be interesting to see what's going on with that. Another deck I'm going to give honorable mention to, Dragon Plants and just plants in general, because plants are still getting support out. Plus, like I said, plants are also the format is changing more, where we're getting more ban lists. So in the future, we could see Lone Fire Blossom going to 2. We could see going to 1. I'm sorry. We can see Dandelion going to 2. We can see Glow Up Bulb come back if they really wanted to. And this second just automatically go tier 1. But Dragon Ruler plants, because a lot of people are talking about this deck apparently. Apparently it's doing a lot of things. We don't know. But yeah, that's it. I know this video was a little lengthy. Sorry about that. I just really want to get this out because there's a lot of decks out here that are going to be running. And really, I want to show the diversity of next format. Like, this format at Worlds, when you saw the deck roster, it was Dragons, Prophecies, Dragons, Prophecies, Dragons, Prophecies. Now, this time around, you'll see Blackwings, Nova Knights, Battle Boxes, Boojins, Badoches, Prophecies, Evil Storms, Merveils, 6 Ams, Archfiends. You see a bunch of stuff, and it's going to be a great format, an interesting format. This is going to be a format that brings a lot of players back into the game, too, because a lot of people quit last one because they hated the whole Dragon Warrior thing. But, the format is going to be great this time around, especially with things changing more often. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think. If I missed a deck, if it's a deck you guys are running that's doing pretty good, I'd love to hear about it in the comment section down below. But yeah, share this video, like, comment, subscribe. Rebel Child signing out. Later, YugiTube.